For over 2 decades, while the world remained oblivious, the United States Military and Central Intelligence Agency operated one of history's most extraordinary classified programs. Project Stargate employed psychic spies who could penetrate enemy facilities, observe secret installations, and gather critical intelligence on targets located thousands of miles away using nothing more than the power of their minds. This was not science fiction. This was not wishful thinking. This was a multi-million-dollar government initiative that achieved documented successes in psychic espionage, and today, the declassified files reveal the precise methodologies they developed to unlock what we now understand to be a latent human capability available to every conscious being on this planet. The implications are staggering. If the human mind can transcend the apparent limitations of space and time to perceive distant locations with startling accuracy, then everything we believed about consciousness, reality, and human potential demands immediate reconsideration. The techniques perfected in these black-budget programs represent a technology of consciousness that governments deemed too powerful to remain in civilian hands. Yet here we stand, in an era where these once-forbidden methodologies have been declassified, documented, and made available to anyone willing to embark upon this extraordinary journey of awakening. The knowledge you are about to receive represents decades of refined research, millions of dollars in government funding, and the accumulated wisdom of the world's most accomplished remote viewers. If expanding your consciousness and unlocking abilities that most consider impossible resonates with your deepest knowing, subscribe to this channel now and activate the notification bell, because we are about to journey into territories that will fundamentally alter your understanding of what it means to be human. Project Stargate officially operated from 1972 to 1995, though its roots extend back to earlier programs with codenames like Scanate and Grill Flame. What began as America's response to rumors of Soviet psychic research evolved into the most comprehensive exploration of human consciousness ever undertaken by any government in recorded history. The Central Intelligence Agency, Defense Intelligence Agency, and Stanford Research Institute collaborated to investigate whether human consciousness could reliably access information beyond the reach of conventional intelligence gathering methods. The results exceeded their most optimistic projections. Remote viewers like Ingo Swann, Pat Price, and Joe McMoneagle demonstrated abilities that challenged every assumption about the nature of perception and consciousness. These individuals could describe the interior layouts of foreign facilities they had never visited, identify the locations of hostages held in unknown compounds, and provide tactical intelligence that proved accurate upon later verification. The program's operational successes were so compelling that military commanders began requesting remote viewing support for active operations, transforming what began as experimental research into an operational intelligence asset. The declassified documents reveal that remote viewing sessions were conducted with scientific rigor. Viewers operated under strictly controlled conditions, often blind to the nature or location of their assigned targets. They received only coordinate numbers or abstract identifiers, preventing any possibility of inference or logical deduction. Multiple viewers would independently target the same locations, and their reports would be compared for convergent details before operational decisions were made. The statistical probability of achieving the documented accuracy rates through random chance alone approaches mathematical impossibility. What these programs ultimately proved is that consciousness operates according to principles far more expansive than conventional science acknowledges. The success of Project Stargate validated ancient understanding about the non-local nature of awareness and demonstrated that properly trained individuals can consistently access information through channels that transcend the limitations of physical sensory perception. The techniques developed during these decades of intensive research provide a systematic methodology for cultivating this extraordinary human capability. The theoretical foundation underlying remote viewing rests upon revolutionary insights into the nature of consciousness itself. Modern physics has revealed that the universe operates as an interconnected web of energy and information, where quantum entanglement demonstrates that particles separated by vast distances maintain instantaneous communication. This discovery parallels ancient wisdom traditions that described consciousness as fundamentally non-local, existing as a field that permeates all reality rather than being confined within the boundaries of individual brains. Remote viewing theory posits that consciousness can establish what researchers term a signal line, connecting the viewer's awareness to any target location, regardless of distance or time barriers. This connection operates through what some researchers describe as the quantum vacuum or zero-point field, while esoteric traditions have long referred to this universal information matrix as the Akashic Records. The mechanism remains mysterious, but the operational reality has been conclusively demonstrated through thousands of documented sessions conducted under laboratory conditions. The process relies fundamentally upon accessing the deeper levels of consciousness that exist beneath our ordinary waking awareness. The analytical mind, with its constant chatter of thoughts, judgments, and interpretations, creates interference that obscures the subtle perceptions available through non-local consciousness. Remote viewing training focuses extensively on quieting this analytical overlay and learning to recognize the difference between genuine psychic impressions and mental fabrications generated by expectation or imagination. The subconscious mind serves as the primary receiver of remote viewing information. Unlike the conscious mind, which processes information sequentially and analytically, the subconscious operates through pattern recognition, symbolic representation, and holistic perception. Remote viewing data typically emerges as impressions, feelings, images, or sensory experiences that must be carefully decoded without premature interpretation. The viewer's role becomes one of passive reception and accurate reporting rather than active analysis or problem-solving. This fundamental understanding revolutionizes our conception of human perception. Rather than being limited to the 5 physical senses operating within immediate proximity, consciousness possesses an inherent capacity to perceive across any distance through direct information transfer. The implications extend far beyond intelligence gathering, suggesting that human awareness can interface directly with the universal information field that underlies all manifest reality. The practical methodology developed through Project Stargate provides a systematic approach for cultivating these extraordinary perceptual abilities. The protocols refined during decades of operational use offer step-by-step procedures that allow virtually anyone to begin developing remote viewing capabilities through dedicated practice and proper instruction. The foundation of any successful remote viewing session begins with establishing the appropriate mental state. This requires creating an environment free from distractions and cultivating a relaxed yet alert awareness, similar to the states achieved through meditation or deep relaxation practices. The viewer must learn to release attachment to outcomes, expectations, or preconceived notions about the target. This mental preparation often involves spending several minutes in quiet contemplation, allowing the surface turbulence of ordinary consciousness to settle into deeper levels of awareness. Target acquisition in operational remote viewing always employs blind protocols to prevent analytical interference. The viewer receives only a coordinate number, random identifier, or abstract designation that provides no logical information about the target's nature or location. This blind methodology ensures that impressions emerge from genuine psychic perception rather than inference, assumption, or educated guessing. Even the person conducting the session typically remains unaware of the target's identity until after the viewing session concludes. The initial contact with the target manifests through what remote viewers call ideograms, which are simple gestural movements that capture the basic essence or gestalt of the target location. These ideograms typically involve drawing basic shapes, lines, or curves that represent fundamental structural elements without revealing specific details. The viewer learns to recognize patterns in these ideograms that correspond to different types of targets, such as natural formations, artificial structures, or geographical features. As the session progresses, the viewer moves into sensory data collection, systematically gathering impressions related to the basic sensory qualities present at the target location. This includes perceiving colors, textures, temperatures, sounds, smells, and other sensory information, that characterizes the target environment. The viewer records these impressions without attempting to identify or categorize them, maintaining the raw perceptual data in its original form. Dimensional and structural information emerges during the intermediate phases of the viewing process. The viewer begins perceiving spatial relationships, sizes, shapes, and architectural or geographical features that define the target location. This information often manifests as rough sketches, dimensional impressions, or spatial relationships rather than detailed photographic images. The viewer learns to distinguish between vertical and horizontal elements, open and enclosed spaces, and natural versus artificial formations. Advanced stages of remote viewing involve accessing what researchers term aesthetics and emotionals, which encompass the qualitative and intangible aspects of the target location. This includes perceiving the purpose or function of artificial structures, the emotional atmosphere or energy signature of locations, and abstract qualities that characterize the target's essential nature. These impressions often prove crucial for understanding the significance and context of the structural and sensory data gathered during earlier phases. Throughout the entire process, viewers must maintain constant vigilance against analytical overlay, which occurs when the conscious mind attempts to interpret, categorize, or make logical sense of the incoming impressions. This analytical interference represents the primary obstacle to accurate remote viewing, as it introduces logical assumptions and expectations that contaminate genuine psychic perceptions. Viewers learn specific techniques for recognizing analytical overlay and setting it aside without judgment or resistance. The session concludes with a systematic review and organization of all recorded impressions, sketches, and notes. This summary phase allows patterns and convergent details to emerge while maintaining the distinction between raw perceptual data and interpretive analysis. The viewer produces a comprehensive report that presents all gathered information in its original form before any attempts at identification or analysis occur. The applications of remote viewing extend far beyond military intelligence gathering into realms that can transform personal understanding and decision-making capabilities. Once these perceptual abilities have been developed through consistent practice, they can be directed toward virtually any target or question that involves accessing information beyond ordinary sensory perception. Problem-solving represents one of the most practical applications of remote viewing skills for civilian practitioners. Complex personal or professional challenges often involve variables and factors that remain hidden from ordinary analysis. Remote viewing sessions can be designed to explore the deeper dynamics underlying difficult situations, revealing previously unrecognized influences or suggesting novel approaches that might not emerge through conventional reasoning. This application requires careful session design and ethical consideration to ensure the information gathered serves constructive purposes. The location of lost or missing objects provides another valuable application area, though practitioners must maintain realistic expectations about accuracy rates and success probabilities. Remote viewing sessions targeting lost items focus on perceiving the current environment surrounding the object, rather than attempting to mentally see the object itself. Viewers often report impressions about lighting conditions, nearby structures, or environmental features that can provide clues about the object's location. Personal insight and self-discovery represent perhaps the most profound applications of remote viewing methodology. Sessions can be designed to explore subconscious patterns, examine past experiences from new perspectives, or investigate internal dynamics that influence behavior and decision-making. This introspective application requires considerable emotional maturity and psychological stability, as the information accessed through these sessions can prove challenging or unexpected. Creative inspiration and artistic enhancement emerge naturally from regular remote viewing practice, as the techniques develop sensitivity to subtle impressions and non-logical information sources. Artists, writers, inventors, and other creative professionals often find that remote viewing protocols provide access to novel ideas, innovative solutions, and creative insights that transcend ordinary imaginative processes. The same perceptual sensitivity that enables remote viewing also enhances receptivity to creative inspiration from non-ordinary sources. Business and investment applications have been extensively explored, though ethical considerations and accuracy limitations require careful evaluation. Some practitioners have reported success in using remote viewing techniques to explore market trends, evaluate business opportunities, or assess the potential outcomes of financial decisions. However, these applications demand exceptional skill levels and carry significant risks that must be carefully weighed against potential benefits. Throughout all applications of remote viewing methodology, practitioners must maintain unwavering commitment to ethical principles and responsible use of these capabilities. The ability to access information through non-ordinary means creates profound responsibilities regarding privacy, consent, and the appropriate use of psychically obtained information. Remote viewing should never be employed for purposes that violate the privacy or autonomy of other individuals, and practitioners must carefully consider the potential consequences of acting upon psychically derived information. The development of remote viewing abilities requires patient, consistent practice over extended periods, often measured in months or years rather than weeks. Beginning practitioners frequently experience frustration with initial accuracy rates and the subjective nature of psychic impressions, but persistence and proper instruction typically produce measurable improvement over time. The key lies in approaching this training as a systematic skill development process rather than expecting immediate dramatic results. Regular practice sessions using verified targets with known outcomes provide essential feedback for calibrating perceptual accuracy and identifying personal patterns of success and error. Many beginning remote viewers maintain detailed logs of their sessions, tracking accuracy rates, common mistakes, and emerging areas of strength or challenge. This systematic approach allows practitioners to refine their techniques and develop increasingly sophisticated discrimination between accurate impressions and mental noise. The journey into remote viewing represents more than the acquisition of a particular psychic skill. It constitutes an exploration into the fundamental nature of consciousness and reality itself. The documented success of government remote viewing programs proves conclusively that human awareness operates according to principles far more expansive than mainstream science currently acknowledges. These capabilities suggest that consciousness represents a fundamental force in the universe, rather than merely an emergent property of neural activity. The implications extend into every area of human experience and understanding. If consciousness can transcend the apparent limitations of space and time to access information through direct perception, then our entire worldview requires fundamental revision. The mechanistic materialism that has dominated scientific thinking for centuries cannot adequately explain the documented phenomena of remote viewing, demanding integration of consciousness-based models that acknowledge the primacy of awareness in shaping experienced reality. The declassification of these methodologies represents a profound gift to humanity, providing access to technologies of consciousness that were previously restricted to government and military applications. The techniques developed through Project Stargate offer systematic pathways for exploring the full spectrum of human potential and discovering capabilities that most individuals never realize they possess. The responsibility now rests with each individual to determine whether they will embrace this opportunity for consciousness expansion or remain content with conventional limitations on human perception and capability. The choice represents more than personal preference. It constitutes a fundamental decision about the nature of reality and human potential itself. Remote viewing stands as irrefutable proof that consciousness represents the primary creative force in the universe, capable of transcending every apparent limitation to access the infinite information field that underlies all manifest experience. The methodologies revealed through decades of classified research provide practical techniques for developing these extraordinary capabilities and reclaiming the birthright of expanded awareness that belongs to every conscious being. The time has arrived for humanity to move beyond the artificial constraints imposed by materialistic thinking and embrace the full spectrum of consciousness-based technologies that can transform both individual lives and collective human civilization. The power lies dormant within every mind, awaiting only proper instruction and dedicated practice to manifest as operational capability. Your journey into these extraordinary realms of human potential begins with a single decision to move beyond conventional limitations and explore the infinite possibilities that await discovery through expanded consciousness. The techniques exist, the methodologies have been proven, and the only remaining question involves your willingness to undertake this transformative journey of awakening. Share this revelation with others who seek to transcend ordinary limitations and reclaim their authentic power. Comment below with your thoughts about consciousness, reality, and the implications of these declassified capabilities for humanity's future evolution. Subscribe and activate notifications to continue this journey into the deepest mysteries of human potential and the technologies of consciousness that can revolutionize every aspect of your existence.